this video, I'm interviewing people who are planning to rent a motorcycle in Kyoto. So let me ask you some random questions. First, please simply introduce yourself.
My name's Mark Miller, and I've actually studied Japanese martial arts since college, both Shotokan Karate and Aikido. And I'm an architect here in Chicago, and I have a deep appreciation for Japanese architecture. Tadao Ando is one of my favorite architects. So Japan has just always been like my dream trip. So it turns out that my son, who's a junior in college, was going to spend a semester studying at Kondo University in Chiba. And it was the perfect opportunity or excuse, if you will, to come visit him after he finished his studies, to tour Japan. And also being a lifelong motorcyclist, I got my first BMW in 1990 and spend many summers taking 2-week tours here in the States. Like, wow, what a opportunity it would be to actually ride a motorcycle through the beautiful landscapes and mountains of Japan.
How many times have you been to Japan?
Actually, I've never been to Japan before, so this was my first trip.
What type of motorcycle do you have on your country?
So I actually only own one motorcycle, a 1981 BMW R65 that I bought back in Arizona back in 1990, and I'm still riding it today.
Why did you decide to rent a motorcycle from us at Kyoto Bike Travel?
Our family touring Japan for 2 weeks. We were going to start in Tokyo and work our way towards Osaka. So at the end of the vacation, I was going to be in Osaka. My research online to find a motorcycle to rent. Most of the rental opportunities seem to be located in Tokyo. There were only a handful of options in Kyoto, and just didn't make sense for me to waste, a couple of days going from Osaka back to Tokyo to pick up the bike and then do my tour and come back to Tokyo and then get myself back to Osaka. So I happened to, find BMW Motorrad Kasuno online and had a great correspondence with them. They were very professional and helpful, much more than the other companies I had spoken with. And one of the great things was I just gave them two main spots that I really wanted to visit. And then they put together a whole 6-day tour recommendation from Kyoto to Nikko, filling in, all these other great sites to see beyond the two that I knew about. And of course, they picked the best motorcycling roads available, which, me being a foreigner, have very limited information on what the best routes are. So it really took a lot of the difficult research off of my plate and made things just super easy for me as an out-of-towner.
What was the most impressive part of your motorcycle tour in Japan?
Oh man, I saw so many great things on the motorcycle journey. Many roads that were going over mountain passes, beautiful sweeping roads following rivers, Um, we went through the highest pass in Japan, the Sogu Tori Pass. Went through a bunch of small towns like Takayama. They had these famous outdoor markets that I got to stroll through one morning before getting back onto the cycle. Visited at least 3 grand waterfalls along the way. Of course, I wasn't aware of it, but in Nikko um, are a couple of great temple complexes. And again, because of my lack of knowledge, I would have missed that, but with the help of Kasuno, put those temples on the map for me, and I had many great experiences. Now, the best thing I think I did the whole trip was visit a place called Takaragawa Onsen. Um, this is just a small hotel on a river, and this place has some famous outdoor onsen. And so it was just great, 2 night stay at this hotel, soaking in the hot spring water, hearing the sounds of the rushing river next to us, being in a valley of tree-covered mountains was incredible. Also happened to stop at a couple of art museums along the way. And, I think one of my favorite things that actually is to the side of all the wonderful experiences motorcycling was just the cultural ritual in Japan of how the days would end for travelers. And so typically I'd have a hard day of riding, was sweaty. This is in August in Japan, so temperatures are like 95, full humidity, totally drenched in sweat. But I would end the day at the hotel, put on my yukata, my casual robe that was provided by the hotel. I'd go to the onsen that was in the hotel. I'd get to shower and clean up, get all the grime of the day off, and then go soak in a onsen for 20, 30 minutes, relax, put my yukata back on, go to the hotel's restaurant. I'd have an amazing dinner in my yukata, take my time, very slow, and then I'd, just retire to my room at the end of the day, get to bed early for getting up early to continue the motorcycling for the next day. So I did this every night, the ritual of soaking in the hot water and then having a wonderful meal. And that was one of the most exceptional parts of the trip, because here in America, we don't have that same rituals. So to be exposed to it was just a real treat.
Last question. Please give some advice to people who live from Kyoto.
So, my advice for travelers, foreign travelers like myself, would be to actually, work with Kasuno as I did. They'll create a great itinerary for you. They know all the roads. They have decades of experience. They'll take a lot of the burden of the research off of your plate. They gave me great daily itineraries with suggested times that I could follow or tweak as I needed to, places to stop for fuel, places to stop along the path for meals, to take butt breaks. They made great hotel reservations. Again, I don't know the difference between good hotels and bad hotels, or cute little inns or guest houses, but they did. So I didn't have to make calls in Japanese to set up those arrangements. They handled all of that in the native language, which was great for me as a foreigner, not speaking much Japanese. They also were great helping me coordinate getting started. So I was able to get all set up and get the bike set up to head out on my journey, and they held on to my remaining luggage for the 6 days that I was on the road, made things easy. They had rental for helmets and other tolls management and other gear. Me being a tall American, I know I wasn't going to find giant motorcycling boots there, so I did bring some gear for myself if the sizes were going to be a challenge.
Oh, one thing before I forget, you're going to need an international driving permit, and you have to make sure stated on this is the Convention on International Road Traffic of September 19th, 1949 from the United Nations. I don't know why that's important. I just went to my local AAA, and they took care of the photo needed and put together this little driver's permit for me. Japan used to be a cash-only society, but over the years now they are taking credit cards in most places, especially restaurants and hotels and attractions. And then if you need cash, what I was doing was stopping at any one of the gazillion 7-Elevens throughout Japan and using an ATM there to withdraw cash using my stateside debit card. So it was all very easy, nothing to worry about. And then people always ask me, well, was there a language issue? And actually, most folks, especially younger folks in the cities, seem to speak English. And when I got further into the rural parts of Japan, I just pulled out my iPhone and used Google Translate. And through that, we were able to communicate just fine. So nothing to worry about with language either.
And one of the best things that they did is they made the itinerary um, little QR codes for each of the days. So I just in the morning would scan the QR code and boop, the itinerary and map would go right into my Google Maps on my iPhone. And it would lead me through the Japanese countryside, um, telling me where to turn. Um, and it couldn't have been easier, all in English, my native language. I didn't have to program anything, so just super easy. They also provided me tech support throughout the trip, so if I had any trouble, I could just quickly, text in and say, hey, what should I do here? Or I got lost. Can you help me get going again? Things like that. And then just on a personal level, everybody was super enthusiastic, um, happy for me. Really, I felt like it was important to them that they were helping me have an amazing experience. And I don't think you could ask for a better partner um, in pulling off a motorcycle tour adventure in Japan than that. So, I can't say enough nice things. Big thumbs up and thanks to everybody over there.